Recording in progress. Oh, there's Jason. Just
601.
yes,
Yeah, Addison plays there some. I don't know if she's going to play there anymore. They've kind of switched.
Hey man, happy New Year.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the January 2025 Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting. Time is now 6:01. As we typically do in our January meetings, we do need to start with our appointment of officers for this upcoming year. We'll need to start with an appointment of a chairman. If we would like to start with any discussion or a nomination from the board.
I nominate Scott Stahowski for chairman.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor for that decision?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? All right, that is unanimous. Mr. Chairman, if you want to go ahead and take the lead on the next two.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom, and thanks to the Parks and Rec Board, all of you here, and entrusting me with leadership of this talented group of people. Next item is appointment of a vice chairperson. I will entertain discussion or motion.
Who our current vice chair is Stephanie, correct?
That is correct.
Would you like to keep?
Okay, I will move to nominate Stephanie Butler as our vice chair.
Motion by Allison,
I second.
second by Morgan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm sure Stephanie didn't vote, just like
No,
I
I
didn't
did
vote on her
not.
own. So we were abstaining from voting.
thought
So
about
the
it.
vote goes down 6-0. Thank you. Just a note. Next item is appointment of secretary for 2025. Again, entertain a motion or discussion.
But we don't have anybody absent today. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's why
Exactly.
Joey used to get it every year.
Joey used to. That's right.
He'd miss the January
You
meeting
got it?
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah. You don't show up on this meeting.
He's here this
You got
year.
to carry the pen.
And our current secretary is Jason, it's you?
No, it's
It's
me.
not me.
Oh, it's Morgan.
Do you want it back?
Okay.
Do you want it back?
I know good. I've never had
good
it,
with
but
it.
I'm good.
Okay. I'll go ahead and nominate Morgan. I'm going to mess up your last name, Van Gelder,
Van
Thank you.
Gelder,
for
Morgan.
secretary.
A motion for secretary. Do you hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, so moved. Thank you all for your participation this year. Next item is call our meeting to order and roll call, which we are all here. So we'll move to Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the next item. Correct, yes, thank you. So the next item is the approval of the meeting agenda, and I'd like to make two modifications to it as it's presented to us. One is we've got a junior ranger to recognize tonight, so I would like to move that to after public comment. And as well, with staff's input, I'd like to move item 10B, the staff update on Deerfield Park, to occur after the junior ranger presentation, since we've got some public comment to occur there.
I will make a motion to move item 10B to after public comment, as well as moving the junior ranger to after public, but
Awesome.
Public comment.
Motion to approve the meeting agenda as modified.
I'll second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. The next item is approval of past meeting minutes in front of you, dutifully prepared by staff from our December 19th meeting. If there are questions or comments on the minutes, we'll discuss them. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve the past meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the past meeting minutes from December.
A motion by Stephanie. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
A second by Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Next item is public comment. For public comment, anything not on the agenda.
We do not have any public comment not pertaining to the agenda.
Awesome. Thanks so much. The next item then is Ranger Jen.
Really excited for you guys to meet Liam Zeri.
Hi.
Hmm?
Don't have to look at So Liam has worked really hard on his ranger look, and I just learned that Liam is a lizard catcher. So as a reptile guy, I will definitely be calling him. Reptiles are not my favorite, so Liam. Yeah. Catch all my lizards.
That's awesome.
All right, Liam, if you're ready, I'll hold this. I'll explore the parks, streets. Promise to keep our. I'll use my sense. Everyone can. Pledge.
Hold it back.
Picture.
Great job, man.
Let's do a picture.
Stand back here.
Come down.
Oh, come down. Okay. My Lord.
Yeah, right. All right, let me get one. Let me get one here. So, all right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, no. It looks like it's intimidating, but then when you look at it, it's actually really pathetic, but it looks, there's 2 of them. It's lengthy looking.
That's awesome. The next item on our modified agenda is City Staff Report 10, Item 10B, Staff Update on Deerfield Active Park. Mr. Tom McElveen.
All right, yep. Last night, we had our first public input meeting for the Deerfield Area Active Park. Very well attended. It was out at the courtroom at Milton PD.
Tuesday.
It was on Tuesday. What did I say
Tuesday.
last night? Yeah. Thank you, Thomas. It was on Tuesday. Really well attended. I would say we had 50. The consultant actually took the sign-in sheets with them with all the information, but I think it was around 40 without the children, and there were plenty of kids that came too and provided their input. So it was excellent, well attended, good feedback that we received, both in interactions as they were going around the room, as well as we had the typical dot boards that you could vote for what you wanted to see at this park. From there, we're going to compile all that data. We just released a survey that's out on the website as well. So you can in conjunction with what we received last night, we'll take all that survey data as well. It's going to be up for several weeks, compiling more data for us to utilize for, how we handle what's going to be going within the park to accompany the diamonds and rectangles that, are already set in the plan and ready to go. So, that's generally where we are now moving forward. Our consultants are going to be, putting all that into kind of something that staff can digest and look over. And then we'll go from there. These the input from the public is without a doubt going to help drive and guide what we do, based on, many factors, topography, funding available, what makes sense and what doesn't, in that whole Deerfield area. We are looking at the Deerfield implementation plan as well. So, we don't need to duplicate any features or amenities in that whole area. So, but in a nutshell, that's kind of where we are. We're going to be coming to the board, perhaps even as early as next month, with, kind of what that looks like, and, getting feedback on how everything shook out throughout the whole public input process. And then after that, Los Designs, our consultant, is going to come in and actually present conceptual drawings for the Parks and Rec board to also look at. So coming around the corner in the next 2 months, I think we're going to get a lot of action in front of this board, and excited about it. So I'm happy to entertain any questions. And I know we do have public comment on this as well. So I'll go ahead and welcome John up, and while I'm taking any questions from the board. If there
Thoughts,
aren't
questions for Tom? I know Scott and I were both there and Stephanie for a little while.
No, I think it's great.
It
I'm
was-
excited to get it moving. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I was out of town, but I'm looking forward to
Long overdue.
moving it.
All right, well, then we'll invite
Working
John
on
up
this for
to
a
his
while.
public comment. As usual, name and address, and you'll have 5 minutes, and I'll give you a 1-minute warning.
Okay. John Lundstedt, 15755 Prudette Court. I attended Tuesday. It was fantastic. It's great to have that public opinion and for people to come in and provide their input. The online survey is great too, right? Because, obviously not everyone can make it. So that's a way of also getting that opinion. That's fantastic. And so I have concerns, and I'm going to go through the concerns, but I also understand the context of, hey, we're going through these iterations and these are plans, but I want to make sure that we keep this in mind when we talk about the priorities. One of the things that's a concern is I believe there's a lack of context. So when somebody walks into that room and they see, oh, we're going to have fields, we're fine with that. But by the way, do you want water features? Do you want water slides, pavilions, fishing? Wait a second. All right. Are we going to get that? Number one. And by the way, if you looked at the 2 posters that Lowe's Design had, it had all these baseball fields, and then it had all these soccer, lacrosse, football fields, and a ton of parking. And it kind of gives you the wrong impression. I'm thinking, wait a second, we got 23 acres. And really, if you look at the topography, the wetlands, all sorts of other stuff, we may even have less than that. So my concern was people walk in there and they get the wrong context. Oh, we got this great park where we get tons of fields. Let's do all these other stuff too. Hold on a second. We may not get that. The other thing that the people that I talk to, almost nobody knows anything about the Deerfield Development Initiative. In other words, there's a whole initiative that's going to have open spaces and it's going to have water features and trails and all sorts of other things. So if somebody's coming in there and looking at this Deerfield Active Park and there's all these other options, well, wait a minute. Do they understand that we also have this other big Deerfield initiative that can take all this other stuff, and there's land for that? Because our number one dying need is active fields, playing fields. So should we put that into context? So for an example, like on the online survey,
I would have loved to have seen one of the questions, are you aware of the Deerfield Development Initiative, which could include some of these things? That way, it kind of puts their answers into context. Very few people know, except for the people that use it in Milton, what we have in terms of our passive parks that we have, right? So we've got Birmingham, we've got Providence, we've got Milton City Park and Preserve. We've got a ton of passive park space out there. So when we look at this and we're asking, talking about trails, and there was even fishing and things like that in there. And I'm thinking, look, hold on a second. Maybe we need an education session for people to understand we have all these things elsewhere. I've been to Birmingham Park a million times. It is never crowded. Providence Park is never crowded. My point being is, this is another thing that I think we may be off on the context, so people are making decisions and we're not focusing on the key priority. I talked about the survey, and the other thing that people need to understand, right? The time to develop this is going to be at least 2 years. That's if there's no problems. But let's say we start the development and there's issues with the topography, with the wetlands, with drilling through rock, with the design, with the cost. It's over 2 years. So think about it from today. And these families that were already hurting, were already crowded on the parks, just so people understand, it's going to be a couple years before we get more fields. And if we look at the growth and if we look at that master plan, we're already short of fields. 2 years from now, that's only going to get us maybe up to where we need to be. We may even be short. So 4 or 5 years from now, there are going to be families that are living in the same situation they're living now, where they're practicing after 9 o'clock at night, where they're going to multiple fields, where the fields are scheduled. Just want to make sure we put that all into context so we maximize those fields. Multi-purpose fields, I'm pushing this like crazy, right? And what that means to me is when we have rectangles and we have baseball fields, if baseball is not being played and these are turf fields, there is no reason why we can't use those fields. And when I say multi-purpose, I don't mean, if it's empty, just kind of go use it. I mean, it's scheduled. It's something that somebody can book, right? It's available. So early December, I went to the Eagle Sticks tryout at Bell, and this was fantastic. There were 100 girls up there running around, but those 2 triangles were jammed. We had 3 Eagle Sticks tryouts going crossways on a rectangle. All 4 baseball fields were empty, dark, and locked. Now, I totally understand the configuration at Bell right now because of the dirt and the grass. Maybe we don't want it, but when we build a new park, there is no reason why when baseball's not being played, 8-year-old lacrosse girls shouldn't be able to go to an outfield and play lacrosse. And it should be something scheduled. Whit Alexander, the president that was there from Los Design, had a great idea too. He's seen it before where you put the 2 baseball fields close together, and what you can do is actually put a full rectangle. You just move the fences. Now, again, baseball won't even know it's happening. This is non-baseball season. You can put a full rectangle, he said. And what you do is you just make those fences movable or removable. These aren't like 2-foot plastic fences. So again, you can get a full rectangle inside 2 triangles. It doesn't reduce the amount of baseball fields. My point is, let's be creative and let's be intentional about multi-purpose fields. Pickleball, this is going to be a fight. All right, so
We're at time. Do we want to?
Shoot, did I hit 5 minutes? I'm sorry.
Sorry, I didn't give you your minute warning. Do we
Can I
want to maybe
take-
a lot of a couple more?
Sure.
Okay.
Um,
I think we need to make a motion for that. Sorry. Thank you. Go ahead, John.
So the equestrian community has this really cool map that shows all 200 horse farms in the community. So I created a map of all the pickleball locations in the city of Milton. Anywhere you see red is a location where pickleball is available or could be available. And that's the same for basketball and tennis. I want to show you another picture really quick. This is a full-blown pickleball court. I took this picture a few months ago. This is inside the Venetian Casino Conference Center. I took this at an Oracle conference. This is Brad Wildstein's company, Vertex, that put this in there. You can put pickleball anywhere. You can put pickleball anywhere. Every neighborhood has pickleball on their tennis courts. You can put it on a parking space. My point is we need to focus on the priorities, which are fields, rectangles, and triangles. Yes, if we have extra space, let's put a playground, let's put a pickleball court. But Milton has so many other spaces, and a lot of people don't know about Alpharetta North Park for pickleball anyway. It's a great pickleball place with 12 courts. So thank you very much for the extra time. I just wanted to make sure to bring up those concerns. I know we're going through the process, and I'll be participating. I really thank you for allowing me to do that.
Right. Thanks,
Thank
John,
you.
for your input. Appreciate it. Thanks for being so passionate about sharing your perspectives with us and the city. That's outstanding. Moving to committee reports. We'll start at the top, I guess. I know Hopewell Baseball's got their schedule published and tryouts are coming up in a couple of weeks. Do we know what their early numbers are?
I don't have early numbers quite yet. We did encourage them. Their registration is still open, so they don't even have their final numbers yet. But they're coming into a close with registration. Evaluations are scheduled at Bell Memorial the weekend of the 25th and 26th. So after that, they'll begin drafting, forming teams, gathering coaches, all that good stuff to hit the ground running with practice probably early February.
Awesome. Weather permitting, this cold
Exactly.
snap coming, certainly not helping baseball in Georgia in January.
Correct.
Another one coming.
Number 2, Eagle Sticks.
So not a ton to report. I believe the spring registration numbers are very comparable to last spring. So I think with all the other sports going on, that's usually about where the program lands. I did speak to Tim, and he was grateful for the cooperation from the boys programming, which was nice to hear some positive things. And just they're also grateful to have 2 fields at Bell for the 10 teams that they will have out there. Last year it was, I think, those 10 teams cramming onto one. So 2 fields is great.
Awesome.
Yep. So that's good.
Good. Boys lacrosse.
The season is off and running. They've started practices. They've started practices next week, I think. The select team start already. I'm sure you guys aware of Brandon's health issues. So we just want to make sure we're there on that side.
Awesome. Great.
Okay.
Thanks. Stephanie, football.
Football. In case you are not up to speed, our field space is being threatened at North Park. Our partner program with the city of Alpharetta has decided that they do not want to host football there any longer. So of the 700 families that we serve, there's a real threat to the program. So it was on WSB today. There was a segment on there. Rich Dennis was interviewed by WSB as well as Chris Lagerbloom with the city of Alpharetta. I know David Kramer, who is the current president, is putting in a lot of hours to try and help figure this situation out, as is the mayor, our mayor. Lots of people. Hope is not a business plan, but that's all we have right now to try and figure out the 2025 season. We're working on things for 2026, but just wanted to get you up to speed on what was going on.
Super. Thanks for sharing, Stephanie. Halftime sports.
Not much new is happening. The season's still underway, and we have the playoffs here about to start here in a couple of weeks.
Outstanding. Thank you. Swims team, Scott.
Stephanie and Beth have started meeting. Registration is February, starts with existing families and then opens up, and I'm sure it'll fill up fast again.
Outstanding. Thank you. Milton Tennis, I hadn't talked to Terry this month. But Thomas, same thing to share on?
Peak.
No report.
Yeah, no report. Peak winter season.
Okay. Youth arts programming.
Yeah, so I'll take that one, Scott. So we are finishing up the programming for winter. We're about to start the theater program next week. So far we have a really good turnout for that, so we're very excited for that. Also, well too, in front of you we have the new guide for the upcoming spring and summer. Staff worked really hard on this. It's like, how many hours, Michaela? A lot of hours.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, so
Great.
Yes, definitely look at that. That's all I got.
Matthew's being very kind. Matthew was the lead on this guide, so Matthew did a great job.
Yeah,
It
thanks,
looks
Thank
great.
you,
Matthew.
Matthew.
Looks
It's
fantastic.
really great.
Yeah, lovely. How many get printed?
So currently we printed off, it was 500. There's a couple more boxes upstairs.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we don't print out enough to go to all the residents, but we bring them to events and, anywhere where we're going to have some participation and folks, we'll bring them to just pass out for anyone that's interested. And then it's posted online. There's a
Yeah.
flippable PDF online where we drive folks to with all of our social media.
Makes
and everything.
sense.
Yep.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Super. Thanks, Matthew. Appreciate all that. Michaela, all the efforts on that. Adult programming.
Adult programming, we are in week 2 of our winter season for our Rush Adult Soccer over at Legacy Park. They're utilizing one field on Wednesdays this season. It slows down a little bit as it gets colder. We also have our adult petanque program at Bell Memorial Park. Registration for the spring season is open. I think it's been open since November. I'm hoping to get some numbers there to keep supporting that program. It'll take off in March and last through about mid-April for the spring season.
Awesome. Thanks, Thomas. Camp Joyful Souls.
Camp Joyful Souls started when the new year started. We are very close to onboarding our returning manager. So she's about to get to work, responding to emails, booking field trips, just getting us in order and prepared for another great summer.
That's great. Thanks. Winding down. Summer day camp.
Yeah, so kind of just same thing. We're just kind of, as we're getting ready for the planning for the summer camp, registration starts for our camps on the 3rd of February.
Great. Super fun.
I would like to add, we will be opening the job positions for counselors and lead counselors and different leadership positions very soon. So anyone listening, please be on the lookout for some job opportunities this summer.
Great. Thank you. Last time, outdoor recreation programming.
I don't really have a report on that.
Yeah. Other than our junior ranger today.
Yeah, we had the junior ranger tonight. Jen went to a class today and got some more education and how to do some, I think it was like water animal training and do classes for kids. Good stuff. She's always looking for new ways to learn things. So
great.
Yeah, but this spring there will be a lot coming.
Awesome. That'll conclude our committee reports. It seems we have no unfinished business. That's very efficient use of our time. We'll move on to item number 9, new business. A discussion on an update to the Parks and Rec facility and field use policy.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. This was sent out to all of you to review. I'm not going to go through the entire thing. It's just an update. We tried to get it kind of back to where we are today. It's been 5 years. For example, Milton City Park and Preserve and Birmingham United Methodist Church weren't in here. Technically, we can rent that field. But I also took advantage of the opportunity and kind of just buttoned up a few sections that were either missing or could use some revision. So I'll probably, can I get the lectern or I'll pull up the document so those watching online can follow along. If it works.
I was having flashbacks reading this because I think I wrote it with Jim.
Yeah. Oh, you did for sure.
Back in the day.
First draft?
For sure.
Like, this looks eerily familiar.
Well done.
Yes. Okay, so as we go through the first page here, I'm just gonna kind of hit the highlights on the major changes. The majority of everything in red is what's changed, and a lot of it's just housekeeping and grammatical things. But the first section here is our ability to essentially deny rental requests for any reasons. Non-compliant uses, if someone wants to rent a specific space and zoning just doesn't allow whatever activity they're trying to do. That wasn't in here and wasn't covered. If there's any reason that conflicts with our, incompatible with our mission, we can deny a rental for that reason. Safety and security reasons, obviously, not really stated anywhere, but I think that gets us covered well. If there's any reason, for public safety or whatnot, we can, deny a rental for that reason. Community standards, city operations. So if it, affects how we can do our business, we can go ahead and deny it. And then I added a number 6 in there at our sole discretion. We can also, deny a rental for any reason. Any questions on that section before we move on? Okay. Next, we have the timing for when rentals must end. I will say that where am I? Here we go. The 11 p.m. for indoor was not changed. It was just something maybe we could look at. And then the 10:30 for athletic facility rentals was originally 10 p.m., but technically our ordinance allows for the lights to be on until 11:30 or 10:30, excuse me. So I made the change to 10:30, but if anyone wants to have any discussion on that piece, we can. You're all good with it? All right, moving along.
Sorry, if the lights have to be off at 10:30?
Rentals rolling out with the lights out.
Got it.
Which we can touch on that.
Yeah,
we can touch on that later too, because that comes up near the end of the policy as well. Okay. These are all housekeeping items.
Hey, Tom, at the top of rental requests, there was, I think I was a proofreader in another life. So we have a comment in the fee schedule under one specific facility that says applications are submitted at no cost. Should that line fit under the first sentence of all applicants should complete a field rental agreement submitted, and then something about at no cost? Because back on page 5, specific to the Milton Community Center, is the only place we reference applications have no cost. So I didn't know if that applied just to that facility or if it's a blanket policy that applications don't cost any money.
Right now, the way our policy is, and Milton City Park and Preserve is the only rentable facility outside of athletics where you can rent Community Place here and just go in, pay, get it done, and then it comes to us, right? Where MCPP or Milton City Park and Preserve Community Center, you submit an application and then we approve it and then you can pay. So that's probably that delineation.
Gotcha.
Did I answer your question?
Well, no, you actually confused me more because the community center at the Parks and Preserve says no cost, and the community center, Community Place is not listed as a rentable facility under the facility list, is it?
It's in the fee schedule.
Huh?
It's in the fee schedule here.
Is it?
Community Place, the second one, as an indoor.
Oh, there it is. Sorry, Community Place. Got it. So I just wondered if I want to rent Bethwell, do I need to pay an application fee?
No.
So if that's our blanket policy, crossed applications for whether you pay up front or pay upon approval, should we just say that on the rental request at the beginning and strip it out of the reference?
I got it.
That's.
Tom, was
I
your
see what you're
comment that
saying.
there's no approval though for those first 2 facilities? It just gets done? Is that the factor there?
That's the way it is. Matthew and I had a discussion yesterday about that. We probably should move all of our indoor facilities, all of our rentals to an approval process.
Some layer of approval.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
In fact, if you want to make a motion
For
on that, we
start-
can make that movement. We can add that in here and
That makes
make that change right now.
Then
I make a motion to require that all indoor facilities have an approval process prior to being able to rent it.
I'll second that.
As we move
a
on.
motion and a second to have an approval process for indoor rentals. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So be
Can I ask
it.
a logistical question? Is that going to be something that like currently you just go on the website and you reserve those facilities? Is that something that you're going to have to like logistically change on the website?
Yeah.
But you're capable of doing that.
Yeah,
so-
yeah,
We can
yeah.
do it
Thumbs
tomorrow.
up.
We can do it tomorrow.
Sure.
It's very,
Yep.
it's a
Yeah, like it's
30-minute job.
Yeah. And also as well too, like it's kind of on my end, it's pretty easy to follow as well too.
Mhm.
Because we have a calendar and it shows if
It pops it in.
if a
Mhm.
person hasn't paid yet.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
That makes sense.
Okay. So we're moving through page 3. Any other comments?
Yes.
I'm good with that. Page 4.
Moving to page 4, same. All right, then we're on to page 5. This is the fee schedule. This is where we added Milton City Park and Preserve facilities, MCPP and the tennis courts.
Yep.
Those are all in the ordinances already for the city, so.
You mentioned it by name a second ago, Tom. It caught my ear, BUMC. Can we?
It's in here. It's in here under the athletic fields.
It's where?
Under the athletic fields.
As a, it's listed. I saw it today.
I guess, yeah.
I didn't see it when maybe I missed it, but
So
It's listed as a facility. So we just need to add it to here.
Page 13.
Add it here.
So Tom, does it mention, I don't remember, I mean, I'd have drilled down when I was reading it ahead of time, but the off-duty police officer requirement for the Milton Community Center, is that mentioned anywhere?
That's in our standard operating procedures for the rentals.
Should it be, oh, okay.
Because those rates can change based upon what our officers are charging.
Is that for all of the facilities or is it
No,
just?
that's just Milton City Park and Preserve, and then whenever we deem it's necessary, we,
Okay.
if an event needs security, but anything at Milton City Park and Preserve, yes, in the community center.
got it.
Yeah.
So we just need to add BUMC on page 5 to the athletic fields.
We add BUMC to,
Should there be any mention here or is it, I mean, you think it's not needed or would it button it up by, it's mentioned in the agreement, but would it button it up for somebody to be able to see it in this context before they get to the agreement? Does that make sense?
yeah.
Is it not? in
Because
the
it seems
universal
like it would cause
guidelines?
less confusion.
Oh, on-site staff.
Yeah, but that I mean, on-site staff, I was kind of wondering what's on-site staff mean? Does that mean, somebody from the Parks and Rec department, or does that mean
If I'm there, I could allow it, but.
Could be an ambassador.
Yeah, it's not, what's that?
I mean, it's up to you guys to determine
yeah.
what level of staff needs to be
Right.
there, whether it's park staff,
Correct.
ambassador, or law enforcement.
Correct.
But for Milton Community Center, it's always law enforcement, correct?
It
Security?
has been, yes, but I could be there for a meeting or something. I could.
Okay. Just with,
But our procedure has police.
I just think it wouldn't be a bad idea to put it on here. If the majority of the instances, like if somebody, aren't most of the rentals probably parties? And
Yeah.
so, which is going to be required to be off-duty police officers?
We're really just looking to have city staff on site to monitor the rental.
So maybe it's a universal guideline that says at the discretion of the
But
Parks Department.
it's always been an officer.
They determine what
necessarily doesn't have
staffing levels needed, and it gives them the flexibility to.
I just wondered if the recent,
know.
issue would make sense to put some sort of clarification in here or.
I
What's the
kind of
remainder of the
agree
board
with
think?
that because when we rented it for graduation party,
Uh-huh.
that's a real expense. I don't know.
Okay, we can change it to say security/police. Off duty.
Unless it's not required, but it seems like most cases for those types of parties, it's going to be required, so.
Correct. Regardless of your rental, we have an off-duty officer there. It's never been anyone else.
Yeah, so I would put it in.
So maybe you add that language,
Okay.
staff/.
Right.
It's on 5. Well, it's going to be on 5.
Yeah.
Do you envision a situation where it'd be anything less than an off-duty police officer? Would it say on-site staff/security and gives you the flexibility to
Yeah.
determine what you want?
Right.
And it's just a fixed rate regardless of what person you put there? And then that way you say security so people see that we're serious about it. And
Yeah.
sometimes it could be, any one of the staff up there, right?
But isn't a off-duty police officer more expensive than this, or is that the fee for regardless of who's?
That's what we, that's what we charge regardless. That's the off-duty rate.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay.
Then that
Kinda-
would be.
So we're okay leaving it as on-site staff? I guess that's what
I'll add security
okay.
/ off-duty
security.
police.
Okay.
And maybe put at Parks and Rec discretion based on event. I'm not trying to be difficult, just thinking it.
Well, yeah, so I will say with my emails and also my conversations, like with people who have reached out to me, they've always asked me, like, is it a staff person or is it well, it's a police officer. So yeah, so
Got you.
like it does make sense, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we good on that?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, we'll make those changes. Moving through, we have the tennis courts. No other changes on these pages.
Pause right there for a second. I'm going to ask you a question. Do we not want to rent Broadwell Pavilion? For $300
Where'd that come from?
at a 2-hour minimum? It seems like a lot of money.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's a good catch.
That's
For
the
an
biggest
outdoor
catch right
space.
there.
Yeah.
It's really pretty, but I wouldn't rent it for $300 when I could go to the Bethwell and have it for $50 an hour. That could be indoor and outdoor, and I get a playground
good
thrown in for
catch.
free.
What is that rate now? That's not the current rate, is it?
75, right?
I'll let you look that one up.
Believe
You don't
so,
have to
yeah.
answer
75, yeah.
Fair enough.
Check.
And
That's why we're all looking at it.
going back to the tennis,
But that had to have been like that. I'm going to look at the original because
Yeah, I'm sure it
made
was.
that change.
Yeah, I'm sure it was at one
Anyway.
point.
going back to the tennis courts,
It's 50 an hour?
It's 50 on the catalog.
Okay, 50. 75 for a non.
That's right.
so again, I know that when somebody tries to rent something, they're going to go through another process. But the issue we had with somebody trying to bring their own coach, does that need to be put on here that you're not allowed
Are you talking pool?
Tennis court.
tennis courts?
Tennis courts.
Oh,
I mean, should that be, should there be some verbiage in here that,
Or is that in
It's
the,
my understanding that language is in when they go
in the
on
agreement
our
for the
site,
facility?
yeah.
right,
It's
to
in the facility
utilize our
agreement. We can add it
courts.
here, though.
It clearly states that because we did address that
Right.
here.
Yeah, because we were working on this kind of before that discussion.
well, and again, that
That makes sense,
Yeah.
so.
it
We'll
might
add it in
make
here.
sense to
It's a
put
good
it
place
both
to add it.
places.
It's a good place to add it.
Yeah,
Okay.
good point.
Thanks, Scott. Good catch.
Following these two documents at the same time.
Got it.
That Broadwell Pavilion is going to drive me nuts tonight on my way home. All right. Questions so far?
I got to the refunds and asked myself, is $15 enough for an administrative fee?
We don't have to utilize it very often. But we do actually when we need to.
Right.
The majority of cancellations are legitimate or within the time frame
Okay.
that allows it. So
Just asking a question. In our city, that's a cup and a half of coffee. Make sure that if there's a penalty, that it's a penalty.
Yeah, and also sometimes I always try to see if the renter, if they wanted, for example, so during that winter storm, we actually transferred like a rental day. So I always try to see first if they want transferred
Gotcha.
to another day.
Perfect.
Makes sense.
But does that at least cover our, like, credit card processing fees?
oh yeah,
Thanks.
that would. That would.
Fair enough. Do we need to return security deposits in a specified number of days? It's nice that we're returning them, but we make no mention of timing. I don't want to burden staff, but I don't know what it takes to get a check out of the city of Milton. I know what it takes to get out of my company.
Yeah.
You got to give a long window.
Yeah, so usually what I tell renters, it's usually like a week or so.
Okay.
So I'll say about 2 weeks.
Within 30 days.
Yeah.
Maybe some, just so people have a expectation defined for them.
All right, we will add that 30.
Perfect. I think you got a typo at the top of page 8.
Premises.
I told you I was paying attention. I owned this document at one time, so I'm.
Don't forget that period, Tom.
I know, page 1.
Page 1.
Okay, so this is a new section that allows us to, charge someone stays late in, at a unsupervised facility, and we have cameras everywhere. So if you stay late, and we can charge for the time that you stayed extra.
Yep.
To try to make sure you're staying whole on your rental.
Yep. Fair enough.
Has this been an issue? Just out of curiosity.
It's happened.
It has happened. So the good thing is, for example, so at Broadwell, the lights turn off. So
Right. Time to
lights turn
go.
off.
Yeah.
Time to go.
Yeah.
The only one,
Last call.
the only concern which it happened, it was actually at the Bethel Community Center.
Oh.
So
Awesome.
Yep. We've seen at Broadwell the lights go off and they still just keep going, but what you gonna do?
Right.
I know we didn't. First, what's the thinking behind food trucks? And I don't.
Great question. I asked that as well.
I should have brought community development to this meeting. I don't know if I'm entirely equipped to answer that question with full
Fair enough.
truth.
So
But
maybe
we've never allowed food trucks at any of our rent. In fact, we have a process for us to even have food trucks at our events. So,
So maybe before we go to final approval, maybe they want to come and just talk about what our concerns and questions.
It would
and
be interesting to understand.
just to
like,
know
their thought
what it is,
process
because
with
I
that.
could
Yeah, agree.
envision scenarios. I mean, we've all been to somebody's house where you rented a food truck and didn't think anything about the liability. So I'd love to
Right.
understand the city's perspective on it. So in case we're asked or whether we're promoting ideas for park rentals. So maybe maybe when we come to the next meeting, we can get a little
So
insight.
I've had
Where was that again?
some conversations or had questions about that. From my understanding, I believe it's some type of special permit you have to get. So for example, if you have a food truck at your house, you have to get a special permit for it. From my understanding.
Maybe it's one of those things you're supposed to, and you
Right.
forget to.
Nobody
Maybe it depends on where it's
Yeah.
parked.
But, or maybe it depends on whether it's in a gated community or a non-gated community, whether you're on a public street versus a private street.
It would be interesting to
Yeah, because
look into that more and then figure out if there's a process we could allow it to be flexible, but we could also deny it depending on.
Right.
Right.
Well,
that's-
just like the alcohol policy.
Right. Right.
There are a lot of steps you have to go through in order to have alcohol.
Fair enough.
Well, or even potentially like all the food trucks that the city has utilized throughout our events, right? Here in Crabapple, what if there was a vendor list of the ones that we already have vetted and we know they pass all of our tests or what have you, if those could then be a list of available potential I don't know, just an
Okay.
idea.
What we'll
Yeah, I
do,
mean,
what
'cause
we'll
you
do
could
then,
see
if-
somebody
if-
looking at,
if this is something we want to revisit, we'll go through, we'll make all the changes that we're talking about this evening. We'll have a conversation with community development, and then maybe perhaps we can bring a revised version with this covered.
Yeah.
That's great.
So you could go two ways, right? So it seems like we're kind of leaning into how do you do it? So maybe you just, without the sake of delaying the field policy, you put a little effort on staff. You could create two versions, one with an outright denial that we have, and then based on the next 4 weeks with staff, what might it look like, and some language around how would it be permissive, and then we'd already be to decision point rather than we'll keep the ball moving downfield. But yeah, thanks. That'd be awesome to hear.
Okay, now if we're down in this section here, 21, 22, and 23 are, well, 21 was in there and we just added some language. 22 and 23 were just added, and then 24, 25, and 26, they're already covered in our agreement with the applicants, but we just do it in the policy as well.
I think that's a good idea, having it both places like the other items we talked about.
Yep, love it.
And
Perfect.
the only other changes was just Birmingham United Methodist. We just added some
Yeah, love it.
things in there.
That looks great.
I have a
Thanks
question,
for
Tom.
everybody taking time to look at it.
Hey, Tom, I have a question.
So what we'll do is like I said before, we'll make all these changes we talked about tonight, bring it back to the board next month with some input from
Awesome.
Dev. Yes.
Quick question. Are appeals allowed for any like denied requests? Like, can somebody appeal a denied request?
Can they appeal it?
Yeah.
Not in here. would
So
think
I
if you're
guess
if you're denied, you're
Denied.
denied. Yeah.
I guess that you may want to
Reasoning.
put to your point, you may want to put language in there to say that all decisions are final. Like to almost
Right.
under that,
I
under
think there's-
that.
I think there's a
sole
lot of
discretion-
language that implies that the parks director or his designee has sole
Discretion,
discretion.
like
um,
almost a number 7 on page 2.
It's heavy-handed on the parks director's responsibility.
All decisions are final, like.
We're a progressive, proactive city, so even if Tom or a future parks director said no, I'm sure some citizen would find an appeal process to pursue.
Quick email.
If they felt they
Mhm.
needed
Yeah,
it.
right.
So I don't know that we need to teach them how to do it. Did I say that out loud? Sorry.
On the recording.
But no, I think it's fine to leave it with the park staff. It's their job. Great, thanks, Tom. And Matthew, it sounds like you guys put a lot of effort. I know you put a lot of effort into this, so I appreciate that. So that'll move to unfinished business for next month. We will now move to item 10,
Hey,
cities.
I appreciate the board's really fine-tooth detail coming of this. Seriously, this is going to be a good document when we're all done with it. So
Yeah,
I
no,
appreciate it
I like it.
tremendously. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to item 10A, update on the 2025 meeting calendar, the use of city email and attendance requirements.
This will be brief. I just want to remind everybody of these three things. The meeting calendar, we will have a lot of, input with this Deerfield Active Park for the next several months. So I'm going to just encourage everyone to try to clear their calendars for these meetings so we can get good attendance and good participation throughout these meetings. As far as the attendance requirements are, if you miss 3 meetings consecutively, which was in that resolution that I had put in the packet, you're subject to being removed from the board. So let's just make sure we're doing attendance. I like to see all 7 tonight. That's wonderful. And then use of city email. I will only be using your city email addresses for any communication that goes to you for city-related business. So I urge you, if you're having issues accessing your email for some reason or another, the bottom of the city's homepage, there's an online portal. If you're having problems with your phone, check it once or twice a week, and just go down online. You can just do it just through the browser and check your emails. I'd highly encourage it, not just for me, but there's also some other city communications that you might see going through there. Yeah, that really concludes that item. Any comments?
Beyond attendance, and that's an important part of our job here in Parks Board, Tom, interesting in rereading this back to when Parks Board was created, good Lord, in 2008. And reflecting on where we've been, two items that jumped out at me is budget and reports. We really, as a board, haven't produced a report. I know other advisory boards have sort of kind of an annual presentation they've given to council. We really haven't done it as a parks board. It's something for us to consider as we go into this busy year, 2025, maybe think about as we get to the end of the year of some kind of report or what's the right time for that. But we've never really been involved in the budget discussion. You guys do that behind the wall, and I didn't know what your thoughts were on that item and how we could help or how we could provide some guidance or insight on your internal budgeting process for parks, since it's in our resolution.
Sure.
I was just curious. Yeah, I don't need an absolute answer today, just something to think about as we go into the new year about, I think it would be helpful for all of us perhaps to be more aware of, what portion of the city's monies that are impacting all the areas. We're so deeply involved in all our individual programming at times that we lose sight of what we're doing in the big picture. And maybe that's something that we
Come back to you in February with how we can help with that.
So it just called out to me when I was reading our resolution. So any other thoughts?
No, I think that's a good ad.
Yeah, I agree, Scott. I think it would be helpful to kind of have a better understanding of all those things.
Okay, let's move to item 10C, update on the Milton City Park and Preserve.
All right, on the active side, I don't have a ton to update today. However, our project lead, Scott T. Koch, who's the city engineer, he is expecting to get a initial concept either tomorrow or Monday from our consultants. That will kind of give us our first view of what park layout could look like with the additional tennis courts, reconfiguration of the parking lot, and a playground out back. So this is kind of like a stay tuned. We're just days away from hopefully getting some progress there. I'll just move into D if that's all right.
Yep.
The passive piece, that construction is still ongoing. We're still targeted for an August completion on that second phase out at MCPP. Right now they're focused kind of on the eastern side. There's a weir that's a BMP collecting water and distributing it back into Chicken Creek, and they're kind of doing some field adjustments on that one from the plan. That's kind of what their big challenge is right now. But generally speaking, for the board and general public, we're still on track to complete the project on time.
Great. Next item, Legacy Park.
All right, Legacy Park. We received a concept yesterday.
Yay.
So we haven't sat down and reviewed it. That'll be next week. But it does, I can share a few high level things. It gets us up to 130 parking spots in this concept. The whole thing's paved, and we've got enough detention there to handle it. So, but our engineers haven't dug deep into it and looked at it. But at this point, that's what it's looking like. So we're making progress, and we actually have documents in our hands now to look at. So it's great.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Super. Look forward to that update next month. And then lastly, community outreach and events updates.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So we've completed another wild and hectic holiday season with so many events in so few months. Emily Salerno had the Milton Equestrian Committee last night, and so she's not here tonight. She did a wonderful job coordinating all those events from Christmas and Crabapple, then Pancakes with Santa and Fire Station 43 or 44. And then our new event, Tea Party with Mrs. Claus, that happened in here. It was such a neat little new event. It was packed. This place was packed with kids and their families doing a tea party, etiquette lessons from Mrs. Claus. It was great. Moving forward, we just got a couple things upcoming from that standpoint. State of the City, we have coming up at the end of the month on the 29th. You all were invited in your city email. So make sure you check that. And if you haven't RSVP'd yet and you're planning on attending, go ahead and send that email over to the RSVP email. And we have our next rendition of Citizens Government Academy starting at the beginning of next month. So we got a full class. In fact, we had more applications than we could even accept.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's awesome. We got people that are rolling into next year's already.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of our version of a wait list for Citizens Government Academy. I don't think we've ever had it. So
That's awesome.
it's great. We've got a lot of community interest in what we do here in the city. So it's great to see that. That's all I've got for community outreach.
Awesome. Item 11 is other business. Comments? None? If there are none, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Jason. Do I hear a
Second.
second by Stephanie? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. See you next month.